And welcome back to the Jason and Pili Project. Today is Real Estate Foundation. Super excited. We have Jason Lewis on the show. Hey, Jason.
Hey, Jason. Easy to remember.
That's right. That's right. So we had, of course, the Zoom technicalities here where they keep updating stuff. No video, no video, but here we are. We're connected. Super excited to have you. Jason's got a super story. We're going to really dive in a bunch of creative things you can do today in real estate during COVID. So make sure not to miss this. Jason got his real estate license while in college in 2003. And for the past 17 years, he's been brokering, investing, and developing real estate, not only as a career, but as his true life passion. I mean, a lot we're going to talk about today is Jason loves to bring value. That's his big thing. How can I bring value? And his mission statement is simple: value add. In every one of his relationships and real estate transactions. He's the CEO and managing broker of Ecospace Real Estate and co-host of the Creative Real Estate Podcast. Well, Jason, thanks so much for coming on the show. What'd I miss?
That's it. You know,
that's it. Okay, show's over.
Our thing is hashtag value add. Every relationship we meet or person we connect with or real estate deal we touch, we try to add value. Hence the kind of Creative Real Estate Podcast that came about. Because that's the whole thing, is just adding value. And a lot of times you have to get creative. And I think today's where we are in this economic and environmental health situation, it's all about getting creative, both from a business and a mindset and a family. It's all about getting creative, because no one knows what tomorrow holds, or there's no playbook for today.
Yeah, and I love that. And we had talked a little bit offline how you got started. You started with house hacking before it was even termed house hacking, and you were looking for 3-bedroom houses that had the space to add on additional bedrooms. And you go out there, add on the additional bedrooms, furnish everything but the bedroom, start renting them out, right? But you just took action while you're in college, where a lot of people didn't have that in their mindset, right? Maybe they're just looking for the next test or the next party, or really just wondering what they were going to do when they get out of there. So you've been an action taker. And you look at today, right? For someone who is on the outside saying, I'm really uncertain with COVID right now. I really don't know if I should be being active or just waiting for things to happen. What is your feeling on where we stand right now?
My belief is that any time, any day, any week, any year, any economic cycle, there is opportunity to add value. I feel that my business would actually, I don't even feel, I know without a doubt, without any question, I would not be where I am, both from a business or a financial situation, if 08 did not happen. If 07 had kept up, 06, 07, and it just kept up and to the right and didn't stop and come back down, I would not be where I am today. 08 to 2012 gave investors and brokers the best life situation that you could be presented with. It's whether or not you were in the position to take advantage. I hate the word take advantage of it, because there were a lot of people that were in a economic situation that were struggling. So I hate when people say I'm ready to take advantage of when the market goes down. Like, I think
it's more the gut reaction, right?
Yeah, you added value during an economic situation. So again, you didn't take advantage of someone, you added value to them maybe, and you added value to yourself, whether that's we bought a lot of short sales. I bought some of these for 67 to 71,000. And we flipped out of those, or I did a few years back, for 250 a piece, so that was a lot of value add, but we also helped that person in those units that we bought from they just needed to dump it. They were in a situation. So that's my thing, is I think you can add value no matter when or where. There's just finding a way to hack it, whether it's your life or your personal financial or business situation.
And so we sit here today where we've had this point where it was almost like we'll say a gushing faucet, right? So 2008, and then everything slowly starts going down. It's almost like you're trying to, catch a falling rock as it's going down and down and down. Where today, people had really their livelihood just stopped, right? And so we're in a different place, and we haven't seen the full effect of this yet, because we're really just still in the mix. And so you sit here and you look at the real estate landscape today. What is your take on the data points that you're looking at today compared to what you were finding throughout 2008 and 2012?
Yeah, I got some of our best deals in July of 2012.
Well,
So it was 4 years after August, I think it was August 16th, called Black Friday or Black Monday or whatever it was, when the mortgage, I think it was on a Monday, when the mortgage industry just collapsed. The CMBS, commercial backed mortgages, just collapsed, and the stock market just collapsed. And that was August of '08. And we got some of our best deals in July 1st of 2012.
wow.
Because it kind of went down, and then it kind of went down, and it kind of leveled. And there was a lot of weirdness in those 4 years. And then we bought it right at the kind of the bottom. And then 2012, 2013, 14, 15, 16, and 19, just like this. So who knows where we'll be in a year or 2 or 3 or 4 years from today. But I feel that if you add value again every day. So what we're trying to do is, from a marketing standpoint, getting our brand out there, connect with people more. We're looking at how the retail sector, that might create opportunities to add some value. Because again, it's completely different than '08, where it was a different situation. It was a mortgage situation. This is a COVID situation. So, but if you look at that, you look at 2001 or 91, whenever the tech bubble hit, I think it's 2001. And then the oil and gas sector hit in the early 80s, which crushed, I'm here in Denver, absolutely crushed Denver, because we were a majority oil and gas town at that time. I think like 60% of downtown businesses were oil related, and literally just devastated it. So each like 10, 15 year cycle, it's a different switch, but they all create opportunities to add value.
Yeah. Yeah. And you look at oil right now, who would have thought that we fought so long for so many years to be, self-reliant, our own self for oil. And then all of a sudden now turn off. Well, we got too much, right? So
for sure.
You can prepare so much and be set, but it's really the people that find their way to take the action when the time comes down. Everybody, we heard so much, through the forums and through a bunch of people we're connected with. Everybody's waiting for this downturn, but now it's here. And there's absolute fear out there, right? Because the hardest thing is that we're all in the same position, but we're all kind of doing it separately. And there's not really a clear understanding where this goes. Is there ever? No. But we all have to make educated decisions, not only for our life, for our family, for the ones around us, but really for our businesses as well. And there's a lot of people who may be in trouble. And you talk about the retail sector. I was hearing something the other day where, I think it was South Africa, they used a bunch of office space that was in decline and turned it into low-income housing. Can that be an opportunity or something from that point? Because we do have a different landscape. We still are out at most places are at a housing shortage, right? We haven't got up to the point where we're building to the level that we need to really meet up with demand, especially in a Denver where you see cranes everywhere. Are you just heavily invested in Denver or Colorado itself, or are you now focusing on different areas as well?
Yeah, we do Summit County up in the mountains. I was actually up there last night. I drove up just for a quick 30 minutes to check on a project. We have some new contractors coming in. So mountain towns. So that's a whole different animal up there. I mean, some of our tenants, they're shut down at least until the end of May. So wow. We're over a month out when Denver and other cities and states are opening up to kind of safer at home versus stay at home. It's more of a soft opening, and the mountains 100%, almost shut down. The resorts are shut down. So my tenants up there have been out of work for a month or 2 months with no kind of end in sight. And it's just a whole different ball game. So that's going to create different opportunities. Airbnbs that were fully leveraged and bought peak of the market. And then Airbnbs are shut down, no rent whatsoever, no income. If they've lost their job, wherever city they are, because it's most likely a second home investment, they have maybe no income there. They're a small business owner, maybe no income. So, I mean, it can have a major effect of what market you're in as well. Whereas 2008, they were all pretty equal. everyone was just hosed
Yeah,
across the board.
and it's so horrible because you see people that have presumably a lot of people have done everything right, and they just had a full stop. And if you look at the landscape, 50% of America can't take on $400 of a just a extra
Yeah.
expense, right? Without, and I mean that's just scary and horrible on all fronts. And so I feel Pili and I, we were thinking like back 2008 when 2008 happened, we were running a large bar in New York City, and we had probably, I don't know, 100 people from Lehman after they had just gone up come to the bar, because it was that big of a place. And we were just thinking on how different it was then to today, right? Because we're sitting there, and I was actually it was just like that weird mix, right? Because we're sitting there on this beautiful day. It's beautifully sun out, but the world seems to be turning upside down. These people have just lost everything and they're out there. And it was like the same thing. I was in New York City on a project during 9/11. It was the same thing. It was like this beautiful day. It's just weird how you have conflicting things happening at the same time, right? And then now today we sit here where we have our families around. We have so many good things that we are now able to grasp, right? Have this time that sometimes gets taken away from us with family, missing those times, or missing those points where the kids are at school but they're learning something. We can come home and we catch it after, right? Because now they've already done, but now we can be part of that experience more. But then there's so much things happening around us that are really setting up a narrative that's not going to be pretty when it all comes back around. So how have you been working with your tenants that are in this point? What has been your communication like? What has been some of the feedback from them? Talk to us about that.
Talking is, I think, the absolute key. Communication.
Yeah.
I think if you're a tenant, a business owner, because we represent a lot of office tenants. So whether you're an office tenant, you're a residential tenant, or you're a commercial or residential landlord, is just communication. It's the fear factor of not reaching out because you don't want to tell them you might not be able to pay rent, or you reaching out to the tenant saying, hey, without your payment, I can't pay my mortgage. Yeah. I think the key is just communication. And just as I was mentioning, up in Summit County, we invest in Summit County, Denver, Kansas City, and in Missouri at the Lake of the Ozarks, all those completely different markets. And each tenant is completely different. There's no scalability right now in this economic situation because it's just one-off. There's no way you can just hit a button and then send that email out to all your tenants and it be effective. It's literally picking up the phone or shooting an email to each one of them and just saying, hey, here's our situation. What's your situation? How can we add value to each other and make sure we're both in a not lose-lose? Maybe it might be a win-win, but maybe it can be a neutral that you just both aren't taking a hit. So it's just all communication. I know Brandon on Bigger Pockets had sent out a example email template that they're sending out to their tenants, just kind of outlining everything. So there's a lot of resources online that you can go and find what other people are doing and then kind of choose your own or have a couple of them. We have several different variations that my team is communicating with because they're all different types of tenants. We have a $4,000 a month residential luxury new build in Denver. That's going to be completely different than our low end $700-800 a month tenants at Lake of the Ozarks in Missouri. Completely different. So those tenants down there are on the $400 a month. If things don't go right, they have a $400 a month buffer, and then they're in the world of hurt. So,
and you're talking that, and it's just so important because there's a lot of people out there that just need to hear from people. They're literally in isolation, right? And so I've seen some landlords take the approach where it's coming down to hammer hard. You still need to pay, and that's like their own communication. Well, yeah, of course. These are, we do these as investments to grow wealth, but you have to have that personal touch, right? You can't be going out there just firing everybody you work with, right day one and just overreacting and then having this whole different talk track where you're just not treating people like people. Because when we do come out of this, and we will, who knows what the other side looks like, they're going to remember that. Was I treated like we can have a conversation, or was I, put under a spotlight when I was trying to do the right thing? I just couldn't. Right. And looking at what you're doing with your investments now, is there, has your mindset changed on investment strategy for some of the spaces you're looking at? Just really because COVID's been such an unusual scenario where essential versus non-essential, just areas have been more affected or less affected than others.
Yeah, kind of going back to the mountain area, we're diving heavily into that sector and the Airbnb vacation sector to see how that's going to get hit. So that's significantly different. We have a 18 unit luxury, 3-story, full rooftop view of the mountains downtown project we're building, and that'll hit come January. So that's going to be completely different how we're prepping that than we are our mountain properties. But yeah, we're diving into those areas where we feel might have the most value add, and one of those is the Airbnb sector. Just because there's going to be some, no matter even if it bounces back now, it's going to be some hard hit areas. So that's an area we're really wanting to kind of dive into a little more.
And you had talked about prior to getting on these 5 ways that you're looking to continue to bring value. You want to touch on a couple of those points?
Yeah, we're actually excited to try to figure out small little ways that people that are at home or they're maybe making a pivot in their real estate career, they're a broker, they're an investor, they're a developer, and then that's put on hold. So we're trying to just figure out 5 concepts, 5 things that you can maybe dive into for a few minutes, and then see if that's, so one of those is like a little teaser is I think we talked about oil and gas at the beginning. I owned farm ground and I flipped it, but I kept the mineral rights. And then I put some oil wells on there back in 07, something like that, to give or take, the last 10 years or so. We put some oil wells on there. So my revenue from that oil wells has essentially probably gone down to zero when oil now is at $20, $17 a barrel and futures are negative. So that's one of the things that we're going to dive into on the show, just on the mini series, is oil and gas leases and mineral rights. So you might not know anything about oil and gas or mineral rights or farm ground, but guess what? That means most other people don't either.
Yeah.
And if there is a way for you to dive in and just educate yourself and see if that's something of interest to you. So we're talking to some of our landmen, which is oil and gas mineral right brokers. They're called landmen. And just chatting with those guys, seeing what synergy we might have, what opportunities we might have. Because if there is someone out there a farmer that's getting hit hard and they have some mineral rights and nothing's happening on it right now, and if you can pick those mineral rights up and things turn around, but we don't know if they're going to turn. That's the whole thing here. So what we're trying to do is pick 4, 5, 6 ideas and then vet them with our synergy partners that are in that sector, research it ourselves, get our virtual assistants to data scrape as much as we can, and then figure out whether or not we want to go buy some more mineral rights or go all in, raise a quick fund and say, guys, we're picking mineral rights up that we're selling for $350, $500, $1,000 an acre for mineral rights. We can pick them up for $25 an acre. And who knows? I think that's what everyone should be doing if you're wanting to get into real estate or in real estate and just not sure, is just data. And then
great resources. Like so someone hears that and they're just like, well, I would love to, but I don't even know where to start besides just Googling data. Which would be me with my rock hands. Data. Okay, what am I doing? Where would you suggest someone would start?
Yeah, for us, like, let's say, perfect example is oil and gas leases. Is I'm going to reach out to people that are in that sector, the oil and gas guys, because everyone's at home, everyone's open for a call. They're not having coffee meetings at Starbucks, and they want to chat. So right now is a time that you could probably call the CEO of an small oil and gas development company, or some sort of, they have kind of upstream and downstream, all the terminology in the oil and gas, and then find a company that's in that maybe sector and just message them. I'm looking at investing in mineral rights. I'm in a real estate investor, and I feel that with oil prices, there can be an opportunity. What information might you have, or insight might you have, if I was to say that I want to take 10,000 or 50,000, or I want to raise $1 million fund and go buy mineral rights? What do you think about that? I bet if you were to get on LinkedIn and message 5 people, you would probably get 4 responses. If you were to do that a year ago, you might get 1. And I think each case is different. I wish I always want to just try to add actual value versus just talking generality. But I think right now everything is independent to what your situation is too, you know? If you want to invest in local, we're in Denver, so like Weld County and places like that have had a huge oil and gas boom. So if, hey, I want to drive out on a weekend and drop some letters off in farmers' mailboxes and say, if you have your mineral rights, I'd be interested in buying them.
Yeah.
Or you get online and want to go to the Bakken or go down, you know, in North Dakota and Texas. And again, that's just one of a handful. That's the Airbnb option, to go get online and try to find every Airbnb owner in your area and say, I want to help you out. I want to buy your property when you finally throw in the towel. So that way you have a buyer ready to go, and you're prepping for that. Or it's meeting farmers in the area. You know, it's just about getting out there, doing it.
Well, I think
really your
that's
question
the thing, right?
is just do it. Just pick something and go for it and pivot and give yourself a certain amount of time. Say, I'm going to give it 1 week. I'm going to learn what I can with oil and gas and see if that's, then it's not of interest. I'm going to then spend 1 week learning about the stats on Airbnb. There's all the apps that will tell you what the average rent in the area is and all the data. You just find those, find some people that maybe have some subscriptions to those and partner up and say, hey guys, what do we think here?
Yeah. And, you know, your point about just putting the action and putting the time in for a week, I mean, we stress this a lot, is that so many times you just hear people just, hey, I'm thinking about doing this, and they'll waste like months upon a time. And then maybe they'll finally jump in, you know, a year later and be like, I want to do flipping, learn all this stuff about flipping in the first week. They're like, man, I hate working with contractors. And it's like, well, you just spent a year, dude, you know, like just get going, like learn something today, because you might find very quickly you don't like it. And at least you've eliminated that. Right. And so, and you see what Jason's doing. He's thinking outside the box. He's looking at, and sometimes you have to run at the fire, not run away from it. Right. And so oil and gas, like, you know, could be a super opportunity in many ways. And it could be a help right now. There could be farmers out there who really just need the income, really just need some amount of money just to sustain, to get over this hurdle here, to keep them going. And it's a win-win for everybody, because it helps in that scenario. Man, that's super interesting. And the Airbnb scenario is just, it's another environment, right? You look at that, and we were at a point where if we didn't have COVID, you know, we might have had another 2-3 year runway. Who knows? You know, we could have seen something going, but something's always going to turn it over. And I don't think really many people, I've probably seen like one book that predicted we're going to have a virus that's wrong. But besides that, I haven't seen many other people stressing that, you know, what's going to take us down? A virus, you know? And so you look at that, it just completely changes your thought process. And just use the virus example, right? Like, who would ever thought? So what else could you think? Like, I would never think this, so I might as well try and put that out there. How are you accomplishing so much across this? Because people are at home and they feel like they're crowded with family, they're crowded with everything they're doing. How do you set up your day to be productive?
Yeah, block scheduling, I think, is the absolute key during this stay-at-home period, or especially in the office. But the office, you're naturally going to have some kind of block scheduling, because you have to drive to a meeting or you have to go to the office. So it naturally block schedules your day organically, in a sense. But when you're in this situation where you're at home, and a lot of parents are being stay-at-home teachers at this point. So you have, I mean, truly have to block schedule and pretend that you're getting up and going to work. And I see the days that I fully block scheduled my day and I follow through with that and I plan it the night before, my efficiency is a rock star. It's that, you know, superpower. The days that I don't, it's a completely different ball game. I'm floundering. And when you're trying to do so much, you just get overwhelmed versus it being it feeding you energy because you're just cranking, you're going, you're like, this is awesome. I love this day. It's like, woo, give me another one of these.
Yeah.
It's like, oh shoot, I didn't do this versus highlight what you did do. So I'm a huge believer in the best self. So this is literally right next to me. I mean, I carry this everywhere with me. And in this, I have my 3 quarterly goals. And then I have my weekly goals and then my daily goals. So every night, you know, I go to bed, I write what lesson I learned that day, my wins, and then 3 things I'm thankful for. So awesome. Last night I wrote progress. I had to fire a contractor. He had some issues, some personal issues, this and that. And I've worked with him for years up in Summit County, and I had to let him go. And we're getting a new crew from Denver to go up there. So I had to drive up there for 30 minutes just to check on the project to make sure to transition. So I just wrote, I'm thankful for that I'm making progress at Frisco, which is the town. One of our other properties that's set to close on Monday during this COVID. We're going to set a record in that submarket. So we just had some progress getting closing yesterday, getting the dates scheduled. So I just put 4383 progress. And then the third was again about Frisco. I just put Frisco potential just because when that's done, it's just going to be an awesome asset that I'll probably hopefully own the rest of my life. So those are the 3. So I ended the day with 3 just small little wins. And it wasn't, I made X dollar. I changed the world. It was simply that I had progress. I mean, literally, I think I put the word progress, or potential. I did actually use progress and potential. Progress with Frisco. That's tiny little progress. Just hired a new contractor because we had some major delays. And then Frisco potential. I'm not even there yet. It's just, I'm thankful for the potential that project will allow me. And it's a massive headache. It's, you know, it's mountain workers and mountain everything, mountain weather. But I want to highlight the potential in life.
Yeah, nothing good comes easy, right? You got to put the work in to find it. And that's why so many other people won't. And so Jason, it's been awesome. I look at this and I think the real good summation of this entire podcast is really find a potential, take the action and make progress, and then track really your efforts and track your goals and repeat, right? And if you can get that to the listener base and just 10 people on the show, just take that action, I guarantee in a year from today, their lives will be completely different. So Jason, awesome show. Thanks so much. Been highly thoughtful, highly engaging. Best place for people to reach out, best place to find more about you.
Yeah. Email is Jason, JSON at Ecospace, ECOSPACE.com. And I love to reach out. Just if you have any ideas or synergy, I love bouncing them back and forth. So, and that's also a huge action item for people. Just reach out to people, listen to podcasts, and be the one person that reaches out, and whether it's this podcast or others, I think is huge.
I love it. Jason, thanks so much for being on the show. Super appreciate your time.
All right. Thanks, Jason.
Thank you.